First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you have your medal?
I have the replacement medal that they gave me.
You had to send it back.
Well, so they took it back when it broke, and then they couldn't fix it, so they gave me this one. And then I just found out today that I think they did fix mine, and so I think we're going to trade this one back for the original.
Wow,
so, yeah.
Gold medal.
Yeah, so it's cool, but it's not engraved down here.
Is it heavy?
Yeah, it's pretty heavy. It's over a pound.
Oh, wow, it's really heavy. I won't drop it, don't worry. It's cool, huh?
Yeah, they're definitely cool. I think that because they were so heavy, the ribbons couldn't really hold them.
You were the first of then we kept hearing from other athletes who were breaking their medals.
Yeah, it's definitely been a big thing. And then, yeah, I mean, it's like a little disappointing because like they're like, don't jump in them. And it's like you're sort of telling people like not to celebrate in their medals, which is like all anybody wants to do. So,
Where does your medal live at night?
It's just living in this little baggie right now, but I'm gonna knit it a little home.
You're a knitter?
I am an avid knitter. Yeah, I knit all these things, and I knit a new hat or headband for like every race. It's a big superstition of mine.
Really? You have to have something do you have to have something you've done well with, or something you've never worn? What's
so something I've never worn before.
But
I say that like once I've worn one in the finish, then it's like burned.
What do you do with them?
Well, right now they're piling up in my bags, but I've been wanting for a long time to like auction some of them off and like have people buy them and donate the proceeds to charity. Because I don't have anything else to do with them.
You knitted this one you're wearing?
Yeah, this is the one that I knit for the downhill, and then I have a new one for tomorrow for Super G.
This is what you were.
This is what I had in the finish for the downhill. Yeah. So,
cool.
Yeah, so I tried to do a little America themes for the Olympics, and then I do some regular ones too.
You dedicated this win to your dad.
Yeah, I mean, my dad's been through a lot recently. He couldn't come to the games. It was really hard the past few weeks. My birthday was January 19th, which was the day that they were selecting the team. My mom called me that he'd been in an accident, and he broke his leg. He has a knee replacement, and they had to replace the knee replacement, and he found out that he can never ski again. So, he taught me to ski, and that really like made me feel a lot of things, because I think about like what would happen if somebody told me that I could never ski again. And so my heart goes out to him, and I thought that the best thing that I could do was try to ski as fast as I could.
Were you thinking about him before your gold medal that day? What goes through your mind?
I mean, in a whole day, there's a lot of thoughts. I mean, I thought about him that morning and wanting to do, him justice. He was heartbroken to not be able to come to the games. My parents were a little bit overwhelmed by the logistics to try to go to my first games in Pyeongchang. And they were like, hope you go to another. And then obviously COVID and everything with Beijing, and they're like, hope you make another. And then, leading up to this games, they were really excited. They had tickets, they had a place to stay. And my dad is like the biggest Olympic nerd in the whole family. Like he watches everything, and, can tell you like, all the winners of the decathlon that have ever come from the US and everything like that. And so I think that, he was really excited to get to actually go to the Olympics. And unfortunately that was no longer possible for him to travel, and was really hard for him. So hope I make another.
Did your mom come?
She did not. She stayed to take care of him.
Wow. What was that phone call like when you called them after winning?
It was cool. I mean, my parents are very, they're like pretty chill. So they were like, how you doing? And I was like,
how about that goal?
Good. So yeah, they were pretty like relaxed about it, but they were like, yeah, we were crying and they were really excited.
I was there at the finish line yesterday. I was there at the finish line I was there at the finish line after the women's combine. You go out and you hug Mikaela and you talk. I wondered what you talked about, what you said.
I said I know you tried your best and it's gonna be okay. Like, she felt a lot. It's hard in combined, right? We come into this as individual athletes, right? We've been individual athletes our whole life, and there's a new pressure to having a team event, right? There's pressure from the downhill skiers because if I mess up in DNF, then she doesn't even get to run.
Do not finish as DNF.
Yeah, did not finish. And part of what has enticed a lot of people into this event is also that they get to check out the slope before the slalom race, which you haven't been able to do in the past. And so, you don't want to like not give Mikaela the opportunity to like even ski on the slope. But to then take a winning run and bring it home is really hard. And we know that at the World Championships last year, Paula was in the opposite position. She was running last, and she ended up fourth with my great teammate, Lauren Masuga. And coming into this event, when they created the event, everybody thought that the slalom skiers were going to be the huge deciding factor in where everybody would end up, because the slalom margins are a lot wider than the downhill margins. And that hasn't been the case. It wasn't the case last year at the World Championships, and it wasn't the case here, that the speed skiers were an integral piece in making sure that their slalom skiers were set up. And then there were a lot of slalom skiers who, even if they weren't on paper the best slalom skier, if their speed skier had a great run, suddenly they were spurred to new heights. And some people cracked under the pressure. Obviously, yesterday there were tons of DNFs. So, I totally understand where there's growing pains. And I think in 2 or 3 Olympics, hopefully we're still doing this event. And I think at that point, people will be a lot more used to how it's going to run, rather than what we're experiencing right now, which is that at best everybody's done it once. And so figuring out that handoff, figuring out the pressure for that, I think is a challenge. And I have no regrets about what happened. I was saying maybe I'm just too good of a loser, that I've lost too much of my career, but I know that it happens, and I don't hold any of that against anyone, because I know that this sport, there's so many variables, and there were variables yesterday too that weren't necessarily in our favor, and we went out and we both gave it our all, and it didn't happen, but that's okay.
How do you deal with the pressure? Do you have a way to diffuse it?
Well, for one, I personally view success in my own kind of bubble, which is like going out there, prepping 100%, working my ass off all summer, and trying to execute my plan to the best of my abilities, knowing that sometimes things go off the rails and don't go to plan, but always trying to come back and never holding a piece back in the hopes that it'll be good enough.
Have you talked to Lindsey since Sunday?
She texted me. She said, congratulations. I know what she's going through is hard, and I think she's dealing with a lot. So we haven't spoken on the phone or anything, but I wish her the best.
I watched you looking up at that hill. We were there as well as she was being taken off, and you had your hands up to your face. You were in such a difficult point. You had just raced and you were ahead, but this teammate of yours was clearly hurting.
Yeah, I mean, I came here in 2022. I had torn my ACL. We had one of the final World Cups before the Olympics here. I felt that I needed to test that ACL, but I really wanted a medal, and I, had no idea if the opportunities would come back around 4 years later. And so I competed. I did one training run. It went pretty well. I did another training run, and I went off of a jump, not the same jump, but a jump here, and landed, felt a giant crack, heard a crack in my knee. I had essentially obliterated all of the cartilage in my knee. And at that point, I had more discussions with doctors, and they were like, well, I mean, you can try to keep going. Like, we told you could try to keep going with an ACL. We knew it was risky, and now it's more risky, and you're in a worse place. And I realized at that point that I shouldn't do it. But I had the opportunity. I knew that if I rehabbed well, I was pretty sure that I could come back for another games. And it's obviously really difficult to miss any opportunity when you're at the Olympics and you have the prospect of winning a medal, because they don't come around that often. But I knew that at least they could come around again. And I think that, one of the hardest parts too was that I didn't tell anybody that I didn't have an ACL, because I didn't want to deal with the armchair critics and the Brads, Chads, and Zads that are sitting on their couch saying, I tore my ACL playing lacrosse in high school and I couldn't walk. How can you conceivably think that you could ever do the Olympics without this? Like, you are risking so much. And I was like, I'm not gonna tell anybody about that. Like, I was like, this is between me and my PT and God. And I had people that said that I was insane to keep going. And I was like, I'm gonna prove you wrong. Like, watch when I come back in 3 weeks with an Olympic medal. And I didn't.
It was just too tough.
And to pull out one of the hardest pieces was because I still, like hell, wanted to stick it to them. And it was funny because there were medical people that had such bedside manner that they were actually causing me to want to do the opposite of what they wanted me to do. And I was like, this makes no sense. Like, you're not being a good healthcare provider because you're causing me to want to risk even further injury just to prove you wrong. And I had to swallow that, they weren't right, but I was still going to pull out. And, and I saw the armchair critics typing in their tweets, and, and then I still see them, and I feel for the fact that you just want to prove them wrong and you can't.